Sam, you mentioned in your new book the dangers of momentum, stating for many leaders, past success can blind them to potential future problems. Can you guys discuss the effect of momentum on a company?
Momentum is crazy. When you're going up, it's your best friend. When you're going down, it's your worst enemy. Momentum exaggerates everything that you do. So no one is as good as momentum makes you look. No one is as bad as momentum makes you look. But the challenge with momentum is, especially in a growing organization, a growing company, a growing church, a large corporation, is that your momentum will carry you beyond your skill set, your human resources, and it will hide the cracks in your system. In my leadership consultation, I have been with organizations, both for-profit, non-profit culture, corporate church, in which they plateaued 3 years ago, but just discovering it now. Because momentum, the jazz, the fizz was so strong that they did not realize the micro cracks that were forming in their culture, in their sustainability, in their volunteerism, in their staffing, in their communication, and all those kind of things. So momentum can blind you. So the numbers are, hey, we are growing. But all growing is not healthy. I can have a growth on the side of my neck. It's growth, but it's unhealthy. Some is just swelling, not necessarily growth. Yeah, and momentum will do that for you. And all I'm saying in that book is momentum is great as long as you step back, take inventory in the middle of the momentum. Not only are we growing, how are we growing? Is this real growth? Is it a seasonal growth? Is it something that we can sustain? Because I have seen runaway trains. I have seen businesses explode and implode because their growth and the momentum became their worst enemy. Momentum can be your friend or your enemy, depending on if you have enough authenticity about yourself to step back and take inventory of what kind of momentum are you experiencing right then.
It's very good. One of the things we noticed with Springs Church, the church side of the organized ministry, is that for probably 7 to 10 years, the growth was so explosive. Thousands a year coming in, and we knew that we had to have systems and structures, as one of the words I used all the time. We just couldn't keep up. And as this thing kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and we'd make provisions and we'd have services and we'd go to other sites on the same campus or other locations, then all of a sudden, there became this cresting. And then everything began to settle into where we actually had good systems, good structures, good leadership, good managers, all the things, and then we built from there.
It's like a marathon runner. You found your pace.
Yeah.
Because you can't run a marathon.
But I know many guys, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know many guys who that was a big disappointment to them because they couldn't maintain this. And what was wrong with them? And God didn't show up, the anointings left, and they didn't see, as you so put it so well, that this momentum, it brought a ton of people in, but then at some point, if we just couldn't keep up, I couldn't train people fast enough, find them fast enough, hire them fast enough, volunteers, etc. It just came down to that level. Is that pretty common to what you see everywhere?
Very common, very common. So you can scale, but you cannot sustain.
Yeah.
And if you scale and can sustain, because sustainability has to do with people resources, facilities resources, financial resources, time resources, capability and talent resources. So you can scale, but if you cannot sustain, I've seen great restaurants open up, go out of business because they had too many customers.
You're not going to, yeah, it's true. You're not going to stand in line all the time and not have parking. Just, I'm not going to that restaurant.
Exactly.
In fact, I would prefer, in the organizations that we have, I would prefer a steady growth that I am able to build an infrastructure in all the time. Because I found that when we had any kind of momentum that outpaced our ability to sustain it, that the people that we lost often wouldn't come back because been there, done that, got the t-shirt, yeah, and it wasn't all that. Whereas if I could have looked after them, because we're in a people business, that we could have looked after them so well that they didn't just become, they became fans. I would much, if I could go back, I wouldn't even take the explosive growth. I'd take the gradual.
Slow and steady wins the race.
Come on.